Hello everyone, welcome back and thank you so much for watching. I've been gone for a little bit. Those of you who follow me on Instagram know that it's been a really difficult few weeks for my friends and family. I've just sort of taken time away just to be with them and deal with a lot of things. Don't really want to talk about it right now, but we absolutely will talk about it after a little time passes because I have some very important things I want to share with you guys and talk to you about just regarding cancer awareness and just taking care of yourself. So thank you for your patience. I really appreciate all the supportive messages. You guys honestly warmed my heart so much. Like on Instagram, all those comments, it was really nice to hear, to read. So I appreciate you and thank you so much. But I'm here, I'm back, and I am going to show you today my full coverage, my current full coverage foundation routine. Not too long ago, I think almost a month ago, I went to the Entertainment Weekly SAG Awards party, and anytime I go to something like that, usually there's going to be a carpet, so I know I'm going to be photographed. So I don't do the same makeup that I normally would do, just like a little bit lighter coverage. For something like that, I definitely go a little bit more full coverage and it looks really different. I've tried the lighter makeup versus the more full coverage and you can see a really clear difference between them in the pictures. So this is something that's really appropriate for if you're going to a wedding, if you're going to something like a special occasion that you know you're going to take a lot of pictures at. It's just a little heavier, more full coverage, but it's not going to look cakey. It still looks fresh and highlighted, so I want to show you the products that I put together to get a look like this. So the first thing I'm going to use is a primer, and my current favorite is this one by Urban Decay. This is something a little different. It's called the Quick Fix HydraCharged Complexion Prep Priming Spray. So it's a spray primer. It actually smells really nice. It smells like coconut and it does have coconut in it, so I spray this on pretty liberally. So for my foundation, I'm actually using 3 different products and mixing them together just because it gives me just the right results. So the first one I'm using is the All Nighter Urban Decay foundation. You guys have seen me use this plenty. And then I'm going to mix in the Diorskin Forever foundation. And these two, I'm also going to add the Estee Edit Flash Illuminator, and the color is Nightlight. This is just sort of a bronzing illuminator that I add a little touch of just to give it that nice highlighted dewy look. Even though this is like a full coverage photo ready foundation routine, I still want it to look slightly illuminated. I don't want it to look matte and dry. So I went ahead and mixed the 3 on the back of my hand. Just going to blend it all together. So you guys know that most of the time I apply my face products with my beauty blender, a damp beauty blender, but for something like this where I'm going to be taking pictures and I really want that flawless, photo-friendly canvas, I use something more like this. This is by Hourglass. This is actually the brush that came out with their stick foundation. It's basically like a kabuki brush, but it's angled. I like to use something like this because it gives me more coverage with whatever foundation I'm using, and also the beauty blender, I tend to use it with products that are more undetectable. Like I still want it to really look super natural. This, a little more full coverage, I'm going to use a brush so it really goes on and like covers really well. Just going to start stippling that into my skin. And also take it down into my neck. And especially for something that's more full coverage, make sure you're getting into your ear and blending it down into your neck. But again, even though these are full coverage steps, it's not going to look cakey or heavy at all. That's why I did the mixing that I did, is it comes out to be just the perfect, perfect texture, perfect consistency, perfect finish. And now for my concealer, this has been my go-to since it came out like a little over a month ago, the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer. And the color that I'm using is Ginger. I use the same color in the Radiant Creamy Concealer. And this brush, a lot of people ask about it. This is by Mally Beauty or Mally Cosmetics. It's a double-sided duo fiber brush with this little concealer brush on the other end. I have been using this nonstop. It's really good for both applying and blending out concealer. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start under my eyes and extend out to the outer corner and down along my nose. And just using this same brush, I'm just gonna blend it all out. using this smaller brush to also blend just kind of gives me the most amount of control. And for a full coverage look like this is pretty much the perfect concealer because it's going to cover extremely well, but it's never going to look cakey. That's why I use this nonstop. It's pretty much the perfect formula. And honestly, for these inner corners of the eye, nothing works better than your ring finger. I just go in there and like the warmth of your finger, of your skin, just really blends everything out really nicely. All right, now for the contour. Contour is really important for a foundation routine like this because my contour usually is pretty light. It's not that visible in photos, but if you're gonna be in front of a lot of flash, if it's nighttime, you know, you just want it to be a little bit more extra, just a little bit more visible. So I'm going back to my tried and true favorite. I've been trying so many different things lately for contour, and they're fine, but this is always gonna be my favorite, so I went back to it. It's my Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation stick, and the color that I use is Y505. And this is really easy to use because it's a stick, so I'm just gonna go in to my usual contour areas, right here, the hollows of my cheeks. And of course, I'm gonna lay it on a little bit thicker than normal, a little bit right there. So when I say more contour, it doesn't necessarily mean like put it in more places. It's gonna be in the same places, just a little bit more in the same places. Because you obviously don't wanna change your contour pattern. There's no reason to, your face is still the same shape. And then going back to the same brush that I used to apply my foundation, I'm just going to use this to blend out that contour. Really making sure to get it into that hairline so there's no like white scalp showing. I mean, that is a contour. Like for me especially, since I don't lay it on too heavy usually, that's like in your face. And for the jaw contour, you really want to take it back here and darken that up back here too, because that's really what's going to show off that angular jaw. And then for the nose, I usually just go in with my finger because it's the most precise way to blend it out, I guess. And one last cream product that I'm going to use over this before I start setting some of this is I'm going to go back to that Flash Illuminator in, again, the color is Nightlight. I'm just going to put some on the back of my hand. And going back in with this double-sided brush, I'm going to use the duo fiber side and just gather some of that product on it. And just really lightly go through and just go over my my contour areas, because this is just going to give me that extra bronze and also a little bit of that that glowy bronze highlight. So I'm just gonna go back and use that Quick Fix spray from Urban Decay, just now that I'm done using all my cream products. It's just sort of gonna set everything and blend it all together, and then I'm gonna, I think at this point I could put together a compilation video of me choking on either hairspray or setting spray. Anyway, moving on to setting powder. Obviously my favorite, my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless. It's been my favorite for at least a year now. The color that I use is medium, and I'm not going to put this everywhere. So it's just gonna go under my eyes, down the sides of my nose, basically everywhere I put the lighter concealer, and anywhere that your makeup might tend to crease up or get greasy. But I've never been a fan of putting setting powder everywhere because it's just gonna, again, your face should be multi-dimensional. It shouldn't be like this flat, matte, dry looking canvas. And now for the blush. Now blush is definitely part of my foundation routine because I always tend to use really neutral colors for blush. This is probably my favorite blush palette. This is by Natasha Denona, and it's the Blush Duo number 2 and number 1, Tutu and Neutral Beige. So this one's obviously a much lighter peachy color, and this one's a more neutral medium. I usually end up mixing both of them, and then sometimes I use a lighter one to blend the edges. So this is just gonna, I mean, it's practically the same color as my contour, but it's just slightly more peachy. And then one last thing I'm going to add to my face just really lightly is another highlight, only because this is new and I fell in love with it. This is by Girlactik and it is their Luminous Face Veil in See-Through. You can see it's such a gorgeous color. It's not too light, not too gold, not too champagne. It's right in the middle. Just high points of my cheeks, a little bit into my brow bone. So that is it for my current full coverage foundation routine. You can obviously see that it's definitely more product than I normally use, but this is for a very specific type of occasion. And of course you can do whatever eye look you want with this foundation routine. So I hope this was helpful to you guys. Thank you again for watching. I've missed you. And of course I will see you in my next video.